Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. I think you can see Bugsy Malone there in the background. She's looking at me, waiting for the ball to be thrown. As always, it will be thrown after the job is done. How are you? I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love, with those that you love doing it with. Please do me a favour, guys. Hit the like button for me on the video if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And even if you have, double check you still are. Hashtag YouTube shenanigans are afoot. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. And despite it being windy, I've got my new pop filter. So apologies for all of the awful standard of fan cams and things I've been putting out recently with regards to that. It's been unsatisfactory for me, but it is what it is. We move. Guys, let's get into today's topics, or one topic really, but it's in the news, and it's been a transfer that was percolating in January, didn't happen. It's back on the cards today for obviously a summer move, and I'm not entirely sure about the player, but what I do love to see is the concept, is that we are increasingly being linked not only to wingers, and I think we all know that wingers are an absolute must for the summer, for next season's push, season 2, the big major season 2, when hopefully everything that's positive about this season can manifest into meaningful output, meaningful results, hopefully in the cup competitions, hopefully in the Champions League. I'll get to the story in just a second. Whilst I'm on the kind of the flow here, you know, I do think we're in there's a massive title race on the cards. Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City. Liverpool finding a way to get it done yesterday, despite a poor first half and incredible injuries. Then you've got Manchester City, who struggled against Chelsea, and Chelsea are one of these teams that can sort of turn up on their day and give anyone a game. And then you've got Arsenal, who have been in incredible form, but are obviously, you know, maybe struggled a little bit last night going away in Europe. They don't have that European pedigree, but in any event, is that disruption to their flow and their momentum going to affect them on the weekend? Time will tell. The Champions League race is also heating up. The title race is phenomenal. The Champions League race is also going to be very interesting, but probably for different reasons. You've got Aston Villa, who are fighting on multiple fronts, trying to get themselves into a European final or maybe go on and win it. And with the calibre of the competition that they're up against, you think that they could do it. But are they going to have distractions, or are they going to use the momentum of likely wins in the early knockout rounds of the Conference League to kind of kick them on in the Premier League? They got a good result against Fulham on the weekend away from home, but they also have their injuries to worry about. Manchester United have been terrible all season. I don't remember them putting in good shifts or good performances more than once or twice during the entire campaign, yet that they are a team who don't draw. They either win or they lose. And when you win or you lose, if you're winning the majority of the games, then you're going to be in European race. For me, them losing Luke Shaw to injury is also a fascinating encounter. I don't think they have a left back anymore that's fully fit or fully available for quite a while, and so, you know, there's going to be vulnerabilities in Manchester United. But on the other hand, you have Rasmus Højlund, who is similarly to kind of Richarlison finding this purple patch of form. Is he a player now that is going to kick on and become the kind of 50, 60, 70, 80 million pound player that he's supposed to be, that he was touted to be, or is it just a purple patch? Either way, Manchester United's have their form of late compared to Tottenham's have closed the gap. We had an 11-point lead over United not that long ago. Now it's down to 3. They're going to be playing before us. It could be a goal difference separator. Tottenham have got a lot of difficult games towards the end of the season. We've got a couple of games coming up that should be winnable. But for me, guys, I personally think, and I know a lot of you think I've been quite negative recently, but I actually think that Tottenham will finish 4th. I think that Aston Villa's distractions will eventually catch up with them. I don't think Manchester United are playing well enough to always find the result that they're looking for, which seems to happen at the moment. I think their luck will kind of run out. And I think that Tottenham, on the whole, whilst I've been kind of quite critical of the performances of late, I think that's maybe because, you know, I was expecting the players, when we get back to full fitness, to kind of kick back into the early season form, and it hasn't really happened. But then I've been watching a lot of interviews with Rodrigo Bentancur saying, you know, he's not up to full fitness yet, he's trying to get his form back, and these things take time. Same with James Maddison. I don't think he's quite there yet. And hopefully, with more minutes and more time, we will recapture that form. We've got a little bit of a breather now until Crystal Palace. We've got another week off, and so hopefully you'll get Udogie and Porro back, and they'll be rested and be ready to go. And I think sometimes overplaying players, even if they're not necessarily injured, can just have that wear and tear on the kind of mental stamina, if you like, of of a player, even though I don't personally think that Pedro Porro is the sort of person that struggles with that. I think he's an absolute warrior, one of my favourite, if not my favourite player for Tottenham Hotspur. But listen, Tottenham do better this season against the better teams. The 6 games that we've lost, with the exception of Aston Villa, have all come from teams beneath us. Wolves twice, Brighton, West Ham, Villa and Chelsea. Most of those mid-table teams. Good teams on their day, but Tottenham, have been, I guess, a little bit tactically outclassed in some of those fixtures. But the best performances and most of the good results have come against top 4 opposition. The Manchester City away game, phenomenal. Arsenal away, really, really impressive. Liverpool, okay, it was a bit of a weird one, but because of what happened that day, it's a strange one. But I think we can possibly go there and get our best football back against the better teams. We seem to have massively improved on our top 4 or top 5 or top 6 level performances, and people are looking at that running and thinking, oh, that's going to be terrifying. I personally think it might bring the best out of Tottenham at the right time. I'm not suggesting that we're going to go and beat them all and get maximum points, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be as difficult to get points as we've maybe made it look, getting points against other teams, like where we dropped points against Everton and Brighton away and Wolves obviously and West Ham. So I'm actually fairly positive going into that run of fixtures, because I think the best version of ourselves this season has been against the better teams. So I'm excited about the run-in. But looking forward to next season, we are, for me, very short in a couple of areas. And I think that the story that came out today, it's a recycled news story from from January, and that's Ederson from Atalanta in Italy, Brazilian sort of central midfielder, operates as a 6, scores a few goals, couple of bangers as well. I've been keeping an eye on him a little bit more since the links happened, and I do think he's a really interesting player. And I think if you look at transfer market and you look at the kind of the general conversation about him, it's a little bit unclear what sort of role he has as well. Is he a 6? Is he an 8? I'm not sure, and I've been saying this for a while. I think that it's important that Tottenham do go out, and I'm saying it since last summer. If you remember, I went through this run of the specificities of a number 6 is so important for Ange Postecoglou's system. The Callum McGregor role at Celtic is very unique. To have the ability to kind of just sit and protect the back 4, not necessarily venture too far forward, but have a brilliant passing array and arrangement in your kind of repertoire, in your armoury, but also that ability to dictate the pace, the kind of the tempo of the orchestra. The conductor needs to be in that 6 role as best as possible. And I think that at the moment Tottenham have got a lot of people who we're not really sure what their best role is. I mean, if I was to ask you, where is Højbjerg best served? I'll probably get 30% saying a 6, 30% saying as an 8, 30% saying on the bench, and the other 10% saying as a 10. Same with Ollie Skip. Lo Celso, is he a 10, is he an 8? Bentancur, is he a 6 or an 8? Bissouma, 6 or an 8? The conversation goes on. There's a lot of value in utility and versatility, but I think in key positions you need specificity. And I think that 6, the lack of a designated monster 6, I think has cost us a little bit as the season's moved on. And I think that we need to fix that and figure that out. Now, you've got Lucas Bergwijn who's coming in, and apparently, according to reports that I've been reading on Twitter, there's absolute expectation this guy's going to come in and be up in and around the first team, which is wonderful to hear that this guy's talent is so precocious that he's ready to be in and amongst it. But whether he's a 6 or an 8 or a 10, I don't think he knows. I don't think we know. I'm not sure the club have figured that out yet. I've seen really cool video reports from some channels that sort of analyse him, saying he's a regista, better suited as a 6. But I'm not sure the regista role is necessarily exactly what we're looking for in a 6. I think we need something a little bit different. And to me, there's names out there, right? There's a few of them out there that I think are percolating and are available if Tottenham are willing to go and get the right price paid and willing to kind of go after that position and sort it out. And I would argue that it's as important, in my mind, getting that monster 6 as it is getting a brilliant winger like a Rafinha or a Pedro Neto or insert whoever, any number of talented one-on-one specialists, wingers. I think that is absolutely vital as well, guys. But for me, that 6 is super important. Less on the scale of importance, but still something we need to figure out is like a replacement left back or a left-sided centre back that can double up in that role to give Van der Ven and Udogie some cover, because the drop off to Ben Davies I think is pretty meaningful. even though I don't have a problem with Ben Davies being, in and around the squad. I like him as a player, as a professional. I think he's done a really good job for Tottenham, but I do think it's a meaningful drop-off, and if you want to compete on four fronts, then you probably need to up that level of rotation in that spot. I think that we need a goalkeeper. Fraser Forster's injury has highlighted the lack of insurance plan that we have if something was to happen to Vicario. If he was to come out playing sweeper keeper and do that sort of and mistime one of those tackles and get a red card for 3 game suspension, season over. I don't know who we dropped down to now. Is it Austin? Is it Josh Keeley? I'm not sure. But in any event, need to get a reserve goalkeeper. Even if Fraser Forster isn't necessarily fit, I don't think he suits the system that we're trying to play. As much as he's a good shot stopper, I don't think he's mobile enough, agile enough, and a good enough ball passer to kind of fill in if there was anything to happen there. It's unlikely that anything will happen, touch wood, but you never know, and we don't have an insurance play. But for me, the 6 is super important, guys. And the links that are out to Ederson today, I hope are meaningful, but I also hope that even if he's not the guy, then at least it shows that we are aware of the issue and that we need to make some arrangements and some changes in order to make sure that next season we're best fit. Other options that are out there, maybe an Andre Onana from Everton. He's a guy that on his day he's unplayable, super strong, mobile, an absolute bruiser of a player. And his ability to kind of just sit and protect is fantastic. He can go a little bit missing, though, at times. He does have games where he goes a bit missing. I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. I'm getting absolutely soaked. Andre Onana, though, another option. Palhinha from Fulham. I think everyone knows how great he is. Is he a little bit too old? Or 29? Is he the sort of kind of character we're looking for at Tottenham? I'd be surprised, but listen, a fantastic player. João Gomez at Wolves, a player that, again, sits in that 6'8" pocket, not really sure what he is, but he's a brilliant player and one that we should be keeping an eye on. Zubamendi at Real Sociedad, another one that traditionally plays in the double pivot alongside Mikel Merino for Sociedad, but with our system, I think that a single pivot with the support of an inverted fullback can help. Ederson is the name on the target today on all of the aggregators and all of the main list. 45 million euros. Tottenham are readying a bid for the guy. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I've got to wrap this up because I'm getting absolutely drenched. I love you. I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe and all that. And by the way, also, if you are interested on Spotify, if you want to hear these things on Spotify, Spotify is up. The link is in the description. Get over to Sean Butler TV. I've just dropped the video about the resurgence of Brazilian football. I think hopefully you might enjoy it. It's a different style of video. Like, subscribe and comment, guys. And as always, bye-bye.